Now, there is a harsh reaction from Donald Trump to Russia. I mean, Donald Trump has always had a similar attitude towards all leaders since the beginning. In other words, if you do what I want, I like you. If you don't, I don't like you. The same with Putin. He says he is very angry with Putin, but of course he also uses such a purposeful expression like, if he follows the same path as me, my anger will go away. What is going on in the triangle of the US, Russia, and Ukraine?
Now, as you know, Trump actually had a discourse before he was elected president, which we talked about a lot. He said that he would end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. Now, as soon as Trump actually took office, he stepped back a little bit from that discourse. When he realized that he could not finish it within 24 hours, now he actually wants this agreement to happen as soon as possible, and that is why he is pushing the parties so much. But until now, he had always made statements that would actually appease Putin. He had not been too harsh against Putin. On the contrary, Zelensky was always in his target. This time, for the first time, he made a harsh outburst against Putin. Now I need to explain what is the reason behind this first. Now, Putin has actually been saying something for a long time, and that is that Zelensky postponed the elections because of the war in Ukraine. And Putin says that Zelensky once signed a decree banning negotiations with Russia. Now, he says Zelensky cannot override this decree because Zelensky is not the legitimate leader. No elections have been held, Putin says. Therefore, he says, let's negotiate. But when it comes to signing the agreement, Zelensky's signature will not be valid because Zelensky is not the legitimate leader. Putin throws out something like that. Now, on Friday, Putin took it to the next level, and he said something like this. Come, he said, let's establish a provisional administration in Ukraine under the auspices of the United Nations, the United States of America, European countries, and then together with this interim administration, let us conduct these negotiations and sign the peace agreement. On top of that, Trump said yesterday in an interview with NBC that I am very angry with Putin for questioning Zelensky's credibility. So here, because Putin's statements always mean extending the process one more click. Therefore, he also said that, as you said, on the one hand, Trump says, I'm very angry with Putin. But on the other hand, he says, if we can't reach an agreement in this process, if Russia is the reason why we can't reach this agreement, then I have implemented new taxes and tariffs on Russian oil. So any country that buys oil from Russia will not be able to do business with America. He says, I will impose a 50% tariff. So this time he increased the dose of his threats a little bit more against Russia. But on the other hand, he says, if Putin takes the right steps, he says, my anger will go away immediately. He also underlines that on the one hand, he continues to raise his tone in a harsh way. On the other hand, if Putin takes the right steps, we will take the same path again. He says that Putin and I are on good terms, and he also said that he may have a phone call with Putin again this week, and there is such an expectation. Now, while saying these things, Trump also lashed out at Zelensky, because there is also the issue of this mining agreement between the US and Ukraine, which has turned into a snake story since Trump took office. Now, what Trump is doing is saying that he does not see the military aid that the Biden administration actually provided to Ukraine as a grant. He says he sees it as a debt and wants to get them back. In this formula, a mining agreement will be signed in this context. Now, Trump has said, I think Zelensky is trying to pull out of this deal, but if he does that, he's going to face very big problems. If he pulls out of the mining deal, if he pulls out, yes, there again, he threatened Zelensky. On the one hand, he said that Ukraine will never be a member of the NATO anyway. Zelensky knows this too. He continues his harsh rhetoric. Now, there is a situation here. As we understand from the statements coming from Ukraine, the reason why this mining agreement cannot be signed is that the Washington administration constantly puts new demands on the table. But most recently, a Ukrainian official who spoke to the Washington Post said that such demands are coming from America, that it is as if America and Ukraine fought a war. Ukraine lost, and we have to pay a lifetime indemnity. They are trying to impose such a thing. Therefore, we can say that Zelensky is making an effort to avoid signing an agreement in which Ukraine would surrender its resources to the United States without angering or provoking Trump too much.
Yes, I mean, Donald Trump has officially positioned himself as such a mastermind in the Russia-Ukraine war. Whichever one of you acts in my interest at work is good for him, like the comment made in the Washington Post. It's really accurate.